Hey people, how you doing? This is the second part of the first part of the video series on why shotguns for home defense. I promised you guys a series because if I'd have shot all this in one video, it would have been way too long. I covered it in the first video. If you haven't seen that, you know, you can scroll over, scroll up, just go down my page. You'll see the video there on why shotguns for home defense. And I talked about why they're such a viable option. Um, some of the things that make them perfect option for home defense. Why so many people have used them for so many years and continue to. The U.S. military has used them in combat and still do right up until today. But whether you have a semi-automatic or pump, shotguns are one of the most devastating things and one of the most versatile weapons. Firearms that you are going to ever be able to find. And you can go around this country, you can find a shotgun in almost every household. You might not have one, but trust me, a lot of people do. They're everywhere. And what I'm going to focus on today is one of the things I said that makes a shotgun so versatile is the ammunition choices. And you can hunt everything from pheasant to rhinoceros. Like I said before, you could hunt from the smallest game to the largest game. And that's what makes them so devastating for home defense. So what I want to cover today is some options, some ammo choices. So you see here on the table, I have some choices, some ammo I want to go over. And typically your shotgun shells, they go from typically the numbers, the bigger the number, the smaller the shot. Now what I have in front of you right here is number 8 shot. Number 8 shot, as you can see, is very tiny. Why is it so tiny? Because it's bird shot. It's made for covering pheasant, doves, pretty geese, ducks, pretty small waterfowl, things like that. This is the type of loads that people use to hunt, those type of animals. Why? Because you don't destroy the bird when you shoot it. So typically your pheasant, turkey loads, things like that are going to be this size. And as you can see, that's very tiny, and there's a whole lot of them. And there's more of them even in a 3-inch shell. This is a 2 3/4-inch shell. So that when you shoot it out of a shotgun, you get a dense pattern, and then you get less of a chance of missing the bird at a distance. This is 7.5. 7.5 shot. And like I said, the bigger the number, the smaller the shot. Now you can hardly tell, but this is bigger than that. It's pretty hard to see. There's still a ton of them inside of there, but this is you're going to get a lot more of this shot. This is good for the same thing, for birds, and that's the reason why this type of shot is not good for home defense. As you can see, as tiny as it is, as I said in the last video, it's not going to have enough power behind it to penetrate. Now, I'm not saying that this can't be lethal. If you are within a couple feet of a person and, you shoot them with this, you could do some severe damage. A person gets hit in the face, you can blind them. This can do some damage at extremely close distances. But, 15 feet, 25, 30 feet away, with something this tiny, you're more likely to make a person mad than to stop them. Now, let's step up from there. This is number 4 buckshot, not to be confused with 4 bird shot. There's a number 4 shot that's for birds. This is for buck. So when purchasing this, make sure it says buck, or you're going to get bird shot. Now this, as you can see, is much larger than that. And the number 4 buck is perfect for like home defense inside of a condo, an apartment complex, or somewhere where you are concerned about over penetration. When you don't want the buckshot to go through the person and penetrate interior walls and maybe hit something you're not intending. This is the solution that a lot of people use. I personally wouldn't recommend you go with anything, a number above this. Number 4 buckshot is about as far as I would go as far as buck. I wouldn't use any bird shot. I'd use buck at least number 4. There is a number 3 buck. There is a number 2 buck, a number 1, and then you start getting into your single lot, double lot, triple lot, quadruple lot. Now this is good for small game, coyotes. You can shoot hogs with it if you want to chase them away. You can shoot small nuisance animals with this. You can hunt small game with it. Large game. There have been people known to take down deer with number 4 buckshot. You can take down a deer with it. But is it guaranteed to hit the vital organs and take down a deer at distances that double-aught buck will? No. But it is a good solution for home defense. It will stop a 2-legged critter with less over penetration. All right, so this is what people live in apartment complexes. That's the kind of stuff they're looking at using. Number 4 buck. Now let's step up. This is double-aught buckshot, and this is some of the cheaper stuff I use at the range. This is a 9-pellet double-aught buckshot moving at 1,425 feet per second. And as you can see, the 9-pellet buckshot, let's do a comparison. You see that double-aught buckshot is a lot bigger than those number 4 buckshot. Double-aught is a big buckshot, and they move at 1,425 feet per second, and most of your 9mm rounds don't move that fast. And getting shot with one of these is like getting shot 9 times at once with a 9mm. That's what makes this such a devastating shot. And this is double-aught buckshot. And there's a lot of different double-aught buckshots out there. There's double-aught buck packed in 3-inch shells, where you'll get 15 of them in there. You'll get 12 of them in there. This one is one of the range shells I use. That's also a 9-pellet. You can see the buckshot in there. I use some copper-plated buckshot. I didn't cut one of those open because those copper-plated buckshot they cost me some money. And I had to destroy these shells to do this demonstration, so that's why I used some of my range ammo, but I can still demonstrate the size of this buckshot. Now this you can use to stop deer, coyotes, bear, pretty much your mid-sized to large game. You can stop it with this buckshot right here. This will get the job done. But you do have the risk of over penetration with double-aught buckshot. That's why I wouldn't say that you should use something like this in an apartment complex. This will penetrate, go through a person, go through interior walls and your exterior wall. It's traveling at a high velocity, and it's like a bullet. It's gonna move through some walls, and it's gonna hit some things maybe you didn't intend. So you have to consider what you're shooting at and beyond it when you're using this 9-pellet. And the 9-pellet buckshot, because this buckshot packed 8 pellets. The 9-pellet is known for having like the one little 9th pellet that just fly off on its own somewhere. So there's videos on that. Maybe I'll do one in the future. But moving on from there, You step up, and this is your federal triple-odd buckshot. Now the white stuff in there is gricks. That's what you find in your more expensive buckshot. That's the stuff that keeps the buckshot in a nice solid column, moving down range. That in a good wad. Triple-odd buckshot. See the 3 zeros, triple-odd buck. Don't mind my little heart stickers, y'all. I mean, that's all I had. Triple-odd buckshot is used for larger game, for big buck, deer, and all that. And it typically moves anywhere between 1,250 and 1,325 feet per second. Now, just for a size comparison, that's triple-odd buck compared to your double-odd buck. Put them side by side. As you can see, that triple-odd is bigger than the double-odd. Not a whole lot bigger, but it's bigger. And that's used for home defense, for for hunting large game. Of course, you wouldn't use that on birds. Not if you want anything left over to eat. And they do sell this in 3-inch shells like this one. Triple-odd buck, that's a 3-inch shell. Now that 3-inch shell has 10 of those. Like this one has the 8, that one has 10. So, and they're not cheap rounds. You know, these cost you a little more than your double-odd buck, especially your 3-inch shells, they're always going to be more. Now, when you move up from there, you move up to what I call quad buck or quadruple-odd buck. That's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Triple-odd buck is 3 zeros. Quadruple-odd buck is 4 zeros. And as you can see, your quadruple-odd buck is typically used on your elk, moose, your brown bear, your grizzly bear, large game, shooting through, shooting through hard exteriors. Like if you were trying to, shoot through a car door or something like that, concrete. That's what these are for. They can be used for personal defense. And you might have some explaining to do in court, but they are more of a specialty round. They're harder to find, but you can find quadruple-odd buck. Now to compare that to double-odd buckshot, let's see. I just dropped it. Oh, there it is. Let me move it around. I'm sorry, y'all. That's your double-odd. That's your quadruple-odd. Hold up. Let me move it over here. This thing hard to get a hold of than y'all think. So let me move one out here beside it. That's your double-odd on the left, quadruple-odd on the right. And you can see the size difference in that. One of these things is not like the other. So quadruple-odd buck is very large and is devastating. But you see how a shotgun has one-shot stopping power. I talked about that in the last video, why it does. But this is the versatility of it. You see how you can go from elk, moose, grizzly bear, caribou, big, large game animals, all the way down to pheasant by just changing the load. Just slapping a different round in, and you can take down a different game animal. And if things get tough and you have to hunt for your own food, you need to have the right tool for the right job. Now, stepping up from there, we move to slugs. Now, slug is a big chunk of metal. That big piece of metal, what you see the blue thing under it, is the wad. The wad helps guide it. But you can see slugs are typically, they can be any size. They can be 3/8 of an ounce. They can be 1 ounce. That's a 1 ounce chunk of metal, and those lines on the side are called rifling. So this is a rifled slug. You can shoot out a smooth bore barrel, and these are rated. These are the Canadian ones. I cut this open because y'all know that Canadian ammo is cheap. And that's why, I'm trying to save a little money here, y'all. But I bought this. These are imported from Canada. I got a bunch of them but before the tariffs kicked in. And as you see, these have high brass. And you see that brass on the bottom? Like, let me show you the difference. You see the brass on the bottom of that and the brass on the bottom of this? Typically, the higher the brass on the bottom of a shotgun shell, the more that shell's gonna kick. The higher the brass, the more it's gonna kick. High brass shells move, they usually have high velocity. Now look at this number 4 buck. Look at the brass on that. See how hot that's why I told you that number 4 buck kicks. And it's moving. That stuff is moving down range real fast. But these are moving at 1,900 feet per second. So they say. They're moving more like between 14 and 1,500. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, this slug right here has a little hollow point on it. Let me get that out of there. Has a little hollow point on it. And this slug right here is a rifle slug from Remington. And this slug right here moves at 1,800 feet per second. And this thing, these slugs fly. I mean, they fly and they are devastating. And see, a slug turns your shotgun into a limited use rifle. I stated that in the last thing, because these move faster than a bullet. It moves faster than most of your bullets. My 10 millimeter doesn't have a round. That usually, typically, the rounds shoot at 1,325 feet per second. And that's with the good ammo. Some of that stuff, you get your cheaper range ammo, that stuff's only around 1,200 feet, 1,100 feet. 1,200's good velocity for a 10 millimeter round. So this big chunk of metal moving at 14, 15, 1,900 feet per second, or you get this Remington round, you're going to get 17, 1,800 feet per second out of this. And you can hit a target 100, 150, 200 yards away with that big chunk of metal. And you can stop whatever it is you're trying to stop. Now, I said in the last video, I do not recommend these for home defense. Why? Not unless you live out, in a rural area where you don't have to worry about your backstop. You don't have neighbors real close around you, and you don't have to worry about them. If that's the case, have at it. But if you have to worry about your backstop, these are going to not only over-penetrate, there's no telling where these things are going to stop. You can take out a deer at 75, 100 yards away, and that thing will keep right on trucking. It'll go right through that deer and keep trucking. These slugs are devastating, and you know it when you fire these things too. 3-inch slugs are not easy on the shoulder. Let me put it that way. So you know it when you shoot one of these things. But the thing about it is, you stop whatever you're trying to stop. If you trying to stop a car, no, seriously. There have been people known to use these as anti-personnel munition rounds. To shoot through vehicles, to shoot through hard targets, shoot through brick walls, to hit something on the other side of a concrete. This is what slugs do. But a lot of people use them to hunt deer, to hunt caribou, to hunt elk, to hunt grizzly bear. These things will take down large game animals, one shot, put them to sleep. Now, when you move from Slugs and all of these other large rounds, you know, quadruple odd buck, triple odd buck, bird shot. Then you have what you call specialty rounds, which I have some back here. Now, if you look at this one, you'll see this one has bird shot and buckshot. They call it the Rhodesian round. Now, this is a home defense round. It's made not only to incapacitate, but to really inconvenience an intruder. This is a specialty round. You have to buy these special. You see it's got high brass on it. So this stuff is moving, but it's basically just, there's no real wad to it. It's basically just chucking this stuff down range. And then you have this round here. This is a 2 3/4 inch round. Like, it's the same size as this round. Same size as this round. You see? 2 3/4 inch, which is the typical size shell. But look inside of that thing. It's got 15 double odd buckshot pellets packed in this one magnum round. And it's not a 3-inch round. This thing chucks some lead down range. Now, once you get, 15 yards down range, this stuff is spread out like crazy. But for home defense, unless you got a big old mansion or something, 7.5 yards is the average in a home. And that's just, 7 yards is around 21 feet. So 21 to 25 feet is your average. This inside of, 7 to 10 yards, is devastating. You're gonna put all these on target. This is a good home defense round for inside the house. Now remember, if you're living in a condo or something like that, you gotta be mindful. Now, for some people say, well, what should I use? Should I use buckshot? Something like this or that? Or should I use a slug? Well, this is what Winchester makes, called a defender round. And this defender round has 3 double odd buckshot stacked on top of a 1-ounce slug. So this is a slug and buck round. That's what they call it. Ball and buck. So it's got buckshot and one big old slug loaded up in here. It's 3 of them. Three buckshot pellets and 1 slug. Now, it actually does pretty good. It's made by Winchester, called Winchester Defender. And actually, it does a real good job. From about anywhere I'm gonna tell you, anywhere out to about 30 yards, 35. There's been some people with longer barrels that have been able to be effective out to 40 yards. But I mean, come on, you shooting 40 yards inside your house. Remember, we talking about inside your house. We ain't talking about down the street. So this is and that's why they call it the Defender. For home defense, if you don't want to make the choice, ball and buck, you got them both in 1 round. Be mindful, though, of what I said about slugs. This only moves at 1,145 feet per second, though. It's not moving at like a high rate of speed like some of these other slugs. So, all right. So I hope you learned something about your ammo choices today. Remember, there's a lot of choices out there. Way more choices than I got laid out here on the table. There's a lot of 3-inch loads, a lot of turkey loads. There's some turkey loads, boy, that got more recoil than some of this stuff I got sitting on the table here. And it's small pellets, but whoo, they got so much gunpowder packed up in them. They got those things so that, they shoot such a dense pattern for a distance, you know, to take that turkey's neck off. You know, that's what people go out in the woods hunting turkey. Right now, turkey season starting. And there's people go out there hunting turkeys. So, yeah, that's what makes a shotgun so versatile. You can hunt small birds, small game. You know, if you're in a scenario where you ever have to forage for your own food, you know, you can, rabbits. I like rabbit myself. I don't know if you ever had rabbit. Rabbit is good. Yeah, y'all say what y'all want. Rabbit is good. Rabbits, doves, pheasant, geese, you know, duck, all this kind of stuff. Small game, you got it covered with your bird shot. You larger game, you know, you move up to raccoons, which are a nuisance, possums, which can be a nuisance. They get in your house and get in your attic, boy. They have babies quick. You know, coyotes, squirrels, things like that. You got your 4-buck, double-odd buck, take down deer, medium-sized game, any medium-sized game, kill any coyotes, defend your property against 4-legged and 2-legged critters. Same when you move up the triple-odd buck, large game. You know, you could take down any large game, still defend, use it for home defense purposes as well. Quad buck, of course. You can stop a truck with that. And, of course, your slugs. And then remember what I said about your specialty rounds. All right? Hey, this is Joseph Hudson. Look, man, if you got anything from this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if there's anything else y'all want to see. You know, I did this because, you know, I had 2A people asking questions about shotguns, and this is part 2 in a series about why shotguns for home defense. And I got more stuff coming in the future, all right? All right, man, look, man, stay spiritually, physically, and mentally fit, and God bless you. The Lord loves you. I love you, and guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about that.